Here's what's left of the original suspension, one of the side plates. If you can imagine, the two front bogie wheels here, the rear wheel, and the top bogie wheel up here. This unit helped guide the track and keep it straight. And it had a spring, a pin that went through here with a spring on it. And this went around the front drum that turned the track. And when it hits a bump, it would tend to ride, as you can see, the whole track flips up and you're riding on a small portion of the track. I did not like that. That's why I decided to go through the trouble of making an actual functioning suspension system. Okay, so I had to make a change on the sled. The bracket that I had made to hold the top set of bogie wheels, it was true. It was in place and worked well, but when it came time to figure out where to put the front guide arms and the front axle that was going to hold the suspension arms in, I had to put everything together and there was no room. It was really hard to mark a spot where to put them. So I made a modification to that bracket and made one piece to hold both. So it's going to bolt in like so into the tunnel, and that way it was easier to mark it on the one plate and give me my measurements that I needed to figure out where the heck that sucker was going to go. This is the drum that actually turns the track, and I've been trying to figure out a few different ways because there's not really much that holds the track to the drum itself when it comes time for this thing to apply the power to the track. It's got these little grooves, as you can see here, and on the track itself it's got these little nubs. I don't know if you can see that, but there's these little tiny nubs, and they sit in this groove. Now I can just imagine once the snow gets in here and it gets wet, those little tiny nubs are going to slide off these little grooves so easily that I've been trying to figure out a way to make it grip better so that there won't be any slippage. So I went ahead, I got a leather punch, and on the track it is highly detailed, and they had the little squares marked out where the actual holes would be in the track. Now I wasn't going to try and punch out square holes. The easiest thing to do is to get a leather punch and basically marked out the center of them and punch a hole through it. There's little tiny lines that helped me determine where the center of these squares were. They might be off a little tiny bit, but it's not bad. So I'm gonna make a gear type wheel that's gonna put teeth through these holes to spin the track, much like a real sled does. So here is the drive gears. They're still need some fine tweaking. It's all cut by hand. Took me a few attempts to get the diameter just right, and when I tried to do it with the original drum, I was going to put holes through here with nuts and bolts, leaving enough of the screw head or the screw sticking out to go through the track. But oddly enough, when I put the holes in and started going around following the track, the last pin would not line up with the next hole. It seemed to miss a line somewhere along the line, and it didn't work. So evidently I found out that the slightly smaller diameter than the top of the drum here made the teeth match up perfectly with the holes. So now I'm going to modify the drum. Somehow I'm going to bolt this to the drum. I'm going to have to trim it down a bit here to bring this in to about that height. And I've got to modify the outer diameter and make it smaller to match the diameter of the gear itself. So I don't know, it's going to be a long process trying to figure that out. But by the time I'm done, if it works, there should be no slippage in the track. To give you an idea, the drive spurs, as you can see, they match up perfectly with the holes. So I had a lot of fine tweaking to do yet with the shape of them and whatnot. They're still pretty just in the roughed out stage, but at least they match up. So they're showing a lot of potential.